머리를 빨간색으로 염색했어요. In our last video, we talked about putting adjectives in front of nouns to say something like expensive clock. But a lot of adjectives and some verbs actually follow a different set of rules because they fall under the category of the piup irregular. These are adjectives that end with piup after you drop ta. It's not every single adjective that follows this rule, but it is the majority of them, and it's what we're going to cover today. If you're not familiar with how to put just general adjectives in front of nouns, then I recommend watching the previous lesson in which we go over those rules a bit more slowly and in more detail. Otherwise though, let's go ahead and get started. Today, let's go over piup adjectives, or as I like to call them, badjectives. Just kidding, no one calls them that. What adjectives are often called, however, is descriptive verbs, for reasons I'll explain in the next video, but I'm going to stick with calling them adjectives today just to keep it less confusing. For today, we're going to continue our practice with putting adjectives in front of nouns, as in, that's a big house, or I bought an expensive book. However, we're going to take a look at a very common irregular, adjectives that end with piup after dropping ta, because these words will conjugate just a little bit differently. First, let's do a quick review of how to conjugate normal adjectives before nouns. When you first learn an adjective, you may see it already in its adjective form, or you'll see it in its dictionary form. This dictionary form conjugates just like a verb when used in a sentence like, the bag is big. But we need to use its adjective form if we want to put it in front of a noun, as in, I bought a big bag. In order to go from dictionary form to adjective form, we will first drop ta, and then if the stem ends with a vowel, you will add nian, and if the stem ends with a consonant, you will add un. We currently have a vowel, so we will add nian to get its adjective form, 큰. And now if we want to say big bag, we will say 큰 가방. Let's quickly review with just 3 adjectives. Big, 크다, small, 작다, and strange, 이상하다. And let's use cheap for our noun. How would you say big house? 큰 집. How about small house? 작은 집. And finally, strange house. 이상한 집. For more practice on regular adjectives plus nouns, broken down in far more detail than I just went over here, check out the last lesson, lesson 18, which I'll link if you click the I up here. Now let's go back to those piup adjectives that I showed you earlier. These words fall under the category of piup irregulars, and will follow a different set of rules. Let's use 맵다 to demonstrate. 맵다 means to be spicy. And if we want to say spicy food, we can't follow the rules we just learned of dropping ta and adding nian or un. In other words, 매운 음식 is not correct. Instead, we will follow the piup irregular rules. Drop ta and piup, and add u. At this point, the adjective is ready to be conjugated into its verb form or its adjective form, but we only care about its adjective form for today, so now we can look at our regular adjective rules, and because 매우 ends with a vowel, we will add nian to get 매운. That was a lot of steps, so let's simplify what we just did. Ooh. Starting again from the beginning, drop ta and piup, and add un. And that's it. So now spicy food is 매운 음식. Let's go over the rules one more time. Try to put 새롭다, to be new, into its adjective form. I'll give you about 10 seconds, but pause if you need more time. 새롭다 becomes 새로운. And now we can put it in front of nouns as in 새로운 책, 새로운 모자, and 새로운 가방. Okay, let's practice putting a handful of piup verbs into their adjective forms. Let's get a reminder of the rules. And let's start with cold, which is 춥다. As always, pause if you need more time. 추운. 덥다. To be hot. 덥다. 더운. 쉽다. To be easy. 쉽다. 쉬운. 어렵다. To be hard, as in difficult. 어렵다. 어려운. And let's revisit 맵다, spicy, one more time. 매운. Okay, 5 more and then we'll practice adding them in front of nouns. Let's continue with 가볍다, to be light, as in to not weigh very much. 가볍다. 가벼운. And its opposite, 무겁다, to be heavy. 무겁다. 무거운. Let's do 새롭다, to be new, one more time. 새로운. 귀엽다, to be cute. 귀엽다. 귀여운. And finally, 아름답다, to be beautiful. 아름답다. 아름다운. Here are all of the adjectives that we just covered if you want to pause and write anything down. Because now we're going to go ahead and practice our 10 adjectives with some nouns. Let's first just focus on the first 5 adjectives that we learned and the corresponding nouns. We've got 날씨, weather, 날씨. 시험, test or exam, 시험. And 음식, which we briefly touched on earlier, food, 음식. Not exactly the healthiest picture of 음식, but you get the idea. Let's start with cold weather, and as always, pause if you need more time. 추운 날씨. Hot weather. 더운 날씨. Easy test. 쉬운 시험. Hard test. 어려운 시험. Spicy food. 매운 음식. One more time, hot weather. 더운 날씨. Cold weather. 추운 날씨. Easy test. 쉬운 시험. Hard test. 어려운 시험. And last time, spicy food. 매운 음식. Okay, now let's switch to the other 5 adjectives and the rest of the nouns. You likely already know 가방, bag, 가방. Next we've got 신발, shoes, 신발. And even though we add an S in English to say shoes, you don't have to say 신발들 in Korean. You can, but it's not necessary. You'll usually just say 신발. Next we've got 아기, baby, 아기. And finally, 경치, view or scenery. This would be like the view you might see from your hotel window or a lookout point. 경치. Let's start with light bag. 가벼운 가방. Heavy bag. 무거운 가방. New bag. 새로운 가방. Cute bag. 귀여운 가방. Cute baby. 귀여운 아기. Beautiful view. 아름다운 경치. New shoes. 새로운 신발. Heavy baby. 무거운 아기. Cute shoes. 귀여운 신발. Light shoes. 가벼운 신발. And finally, beautiful baby. 아름다운 아기. Okay, just repeat after me for a refresher of all of our adjectives and nouns so far. 추운 날씨. 더운 날씨. 쉬운 시험. 어려운 시험. 매운 음식. 가벼운 가방. 무거운 가방. 새로운 신발. 귀여운 아기. 아름다운 경치. Okay, let's get our ida rules back in here. Are you sick of ida yet? We've done this the past several videos and I'm sorry. A little. If we want to say some complete sentences like their new shoes or it's a beautiful view, we need ida to be, aka am, is, are. If we want to say their new shoes, aka they are new shoes, we will say new shoes are. It's not necessary to specify they here, so let's get it out of here. Okay, what do you think? 새로운 신발이에요. 새로운 신발이에요. If you're unfamiliar with how to use 이다, go ahead and check out lessons 1 or 15. Again, which you can access by clicking on the eye up here. Okay, it's a beautiful view. Again, we don't need to specify it or a. So what do you think? 아름다운 경치예요. 아름다운 경치예요. Alright, let's go ahead and squeeze the 이다 rules up here. And let's finish today's video with just a couple of full sentences. Let's start with, that's a cute baby. As always, pause if you need more time. 귀여운 아기예요. It's hot weather. 더운 날씨예요. It's cold weather. 추운 날씨예요. It's a hard test. 어려운 시험이에요. And finally, it's a light bag. 가벼운 가방이에요. Now before we move on to the summary, I just want to point out that not every single word that ends with pi업 after dropping 타 follows these irregular rules. For example, take the word 좁다, to be narrow. Despite ending with pi업 after dropping 타, 좁다 is not an irregular verb, so we won't follow the irregular rules that we learned today. We will actually just follow the regular rules of putting an adjective into its adjective form that we learned last lesson. Drop 타 and add nian or un. So now 좁다 has become 좁은. And now we can combine it with a noun like 좁은 복도 or 좁은 도로. You'll just have to memorize which words are regular and which words are irregular, but I think it helps to know that the majority of words that end with piop are in fact irregular, making the regular rule following piop words the rare ones. Don't worry about memorizing any of this today, this is just a little side note that I wanted to point out. So now we can finally get to our summary. Adjectives in Korean have two forms. Their dictionary or verb form, which I'll introduce finally in the next video, and their adjective form that goes in front of nouns. Other teachers might refer to these forms with different terms, but the main thing to remember is that an adjective before a noun, as in, this is an expensive bag, will be conjugated differently than after a noun, as in, the bag is expensive. In our last video, we went over the rules for how to conjugate regular adjectives into their adjective form. But today, we talked about a very common irregular, the piop irregular, for words that end with piop after dropping ta, which will follow a slightly different set of rules. Drop ta and piop, and add u. Then you will follow the regular adjective rules. Since u ends with a vowel, we will always end up adding nian. Therefore, this can be simplified as drop ta and piop, and add un. And now, 배운 is ready to be put in front of a noun. For example, if we want to say spicy food, we will say 매운 음식. These irregular rules do not apply to every single adjective or verb that ends with piop. For example, 좁다, to be narrow, does not follow the piop irregular rules. It's just a regular adjective, so we can use the regular rules to say something like 좁은 집, narrow house. You'll just have to memorize which words follow the P of irregular and which words don't, but you'll find that most P of words do follow the irregular rules, so don't worry about it too much today. Here's a list of all the words that we practiced today, and they'll also be in the description box below. Great job today! I hope it wasn't too 어렵다, and I'll see you guys in the next video.